tougher than he looks.
Well, he looks geriatric, I hope so.
It's a little below the belt, don't you think?
Hello everybody, welcome back to Screenstars. I'm here today to bring you my review for the 2022 action comedy High Heat, a film that is directed by Zach Golden and it stars Olga Kurylenko, Don Johnson, Dallas Page or Diamond Dallas Page, Ivan Martin and Chris Diamantopoulos. Right, the film focuses on married couple played by Olga Kurylenko and Don Johnson, Anna and Ray. At the beginning, we see that they have opened a restaurant, and Anna is like the head chef. She's a really skilled chef. She's in the back doing all the meals. He's out the front of house, and he receives a visit from the local mob that is run by Diamond Dallas Page's character, Dom. And they made a deal with Don Johnson, basically, to help him fund this restaurant. And they made a deal, basically, to burn it down at the right time for the insurance. But they decide that they're going to do that opening night. They're going to burn it down. And Olga Kurylenko's character, Anna, is not having that at all. And it turns out she can put up quite a fight because she's ex-KGB and she comes with a serious set of skills. So the film kind of becomes a bit of a siege. You've got all these people trying to get into the restaurant to destroy it and burn it down, and she's kind of putting up a fight from the inside with her and her husband. Right, what are my thoughts on High Heat? Well, honestly, guys, going into this film, I wasn't expecting an awful lot. The premise didn't sound anything particularly special. And I thought it was just going to be one of those direct-to-streaming DVD type films that I see many, many times and review many, many times that are just very, very middling and fairly dull and poorly made sort of thing. I have to say, though, guys, I was really pleasantly surprised by this film. This was easily far better than I was expecting. Don't get me wrong, this isn't Film of the Year material. It's not that good at all. But I have to say I was really quite entertained by this. And there's a few reasons for that. I think the first reason for me, or the first two reasons, are Don Johnson and Olga Kurylenko. You don't expect them to have so much chemistry, but they're absolutely great together on screen. You would imagine that them two playing a husband and wife with Don Johnson being considerably older and all that kind of stuff wouldn't work. But it absolutely does. And I have to say the chemistry really worked between the pair of them. And they do share a lot of the screen together. Initially, I thought that Don Johnson was only going to be in it briefly. But he's not. He's in it pretty much for the whole film. But don't get me wrong, the star of the film here is definitely Olga Kurylenko, who we have seen previously do action films and do them very competently. And it's no different here. In actual fact, this film almost felt like a parody of Black Widow in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Because she's ex-KGB, she's obviously, been trained, she's an assassin and all this kind of stuff. And there's things that happen in this film. She rings up one of her ex-comrades who has got her own family, like a husband and kids, very much like it was portrayed in the Black Widow film, the recent one, earlier this year, I believe it was. So it almost felt like this was them parodying Black Widow. It's almost like, well, this is what would happen if Black Widow retired and opened a restaurant almost. Don't get me wrong, it's not up to the standards of a Marvel film or anything like that. But it felt like it was playing around with them ideas and that universe to a very small degree. And I think it really helped as well that the action scenes were all dealt with very, very competently. And with this being a comedy, it doesn't take itself too seriously. Now, this isn't what you would describe as a laugh-out-loud comedy. There are moments in this film where it will raise a smile here and there. Some of the action's quite comical here and there. And some of the characters are quite comical. There's a masseur who, for some reason, the Diamond Dallas Page character sends into the restaurant with other people to try and burn it down. And he's obviously like a comic character. The woman that she rings up to come with her family to help her, there's like a comedy dynamic going on between that family that's quite amusing. And there's a few one-liners here and there by Don Johnson and Olga Kurylenko that, that really work for the most part. There's not an awful lot of the humour falls flat, but it's just pitched at the right level. It doesn't feel cringe, and it's not over the top, the comedy. It just feels like it's pitched at the right level. And some of the characters just hover on the border of being like caricatures or cartoons sort of thing. There's some of them don't necessarily feel like real people, but it's just kind of hovering that line. So I do think everything that this film tried to do, it was pretty successful at. I've seen some fairly cruel reviews for this one, which quite surprises me because I watch a lot of these middling action films, and I think this one certainly is, for me, easily above average. I would say anyway, because I was entertained by it, and I thought the performances were all good by everybody, especially Olga Kurylenko and Don Johnson. They took material seriously. They had great chemistry, as I've mentioned. But some of the other characters worked as well in the film. Like I say, the character that she rings up to come in and help her, Mimi, played by Caitlin Doubleday, her and her husband and family coming in to help. I thought they were funny and amusing and well performed. And Diamond Dallas Page, if you don't know who Diamond Dallas Page is the ex-wrestler who has dabbled in films here and there, but he was actually quite good as well in this film. So when you consider that, even though he has done a bit of acting in the past, it's not like something that you see him do an awful lot of. So I think this film is worth checking out. It was a real pleasant surprise to me. I'm giving it a 7 out of 10. I think I'm probably being a bit generous with that. I think it's more accurate that it may be around a 6 out of 10 for most people when they watch this. But I'm giving it a 7 out of 10 because it went above my expectations, and I was really entertained for the most part watching it, and I didn't expect to be. So if you're wanting to watch a well-made, competent action comedy with some good performances, then check out High Heat if you get the opportunity. And I will be back, of course, with plenty more reviews and content on the channel very, very soon.